is look at scenarios where, like I said, in the previous homework, 4.1, every problem was law of sine. 4.2, every problem was law of cosine. Now, just like your quiz, you're going to have to decipher which of those to use in which condition. So, on your quiz, you will be given all of these formulas, okay? So you don't have to memorize them, but I mean, more than just seeing them, you have to know when to apply them. You know, that's sort of the greater skill. So, law of sine. The most important thing to know is when you have an angle and an opposite side. So in that condition, when you have an angle and the opposite side, that's when you can use the law of sine. You can use the law of cosine under two situations. You know all three sides, or you know two sides and the included angle, or the angle in between them, okay? That's the condition under which you can use law of cosine. So this is the way it's going to look on your quiz. You'll see things like this, okay? I'll give you information about a triangle. You have to be able to draw this triangle. Triangle PIG. So, yep. So, it doesn't matter how you label it in terms of, I could put P here or up, it doesn't matter. Just label the angles. That part doesn't matter, but what does matter once you've labeled the angles is how to label the sides. What is this side right here? Yeah, that is G. This side over here is P, and this side is I, okay? Now, what am I given? P, this is instead of a minus sign, is an equal sign. If P equals 7, so this side is 7, I is 53 degrees, that's this angle right here, and angle G is 109. So, which law would I use? So, sine or cosine? Okay, with sine, I need to know what? An angle and an opposite side. Do I know an angle and opposite side? No, but how hard is it? How hard is it to get this angle? That's about the easiest thing we've done. Okay, I can get that because it's 180 minus the others, okay? So in this case, angle P is going to be 180 minus 109, what, minus 53. So that is what, 164, so 16? Yeah, 18. So angle P is 18. So this is 18 degrees. So in this case, because I have an angle and the opposite side, now I can use the law of sine, okay? So we want to solve for side G. So in this case, I'm going to write 7 divided by what? Yeah, 7 divided by the sine of what, 18? Is equal to, if I'm solving for G, it's going to be G divided by the what? Sine of what, 109. Yep, there we go. Okay. Pardon me? The law of sine. This side divided by the sine of that is equal to this over the sine of this, or this over the sine of that. So it's just using the law of sine. Because they wanted me to solve for side G, so this is what? This is P over sine P. So it's P over sine P equal G over sine G. So I'm just using that formula. Okay. From here, I will cross multiply. And I get what? 7 times the sine of 109 equal G sine of 18. And solve this for G. So you get G is equal to 7 sine 109 over sine 18. So 7 times the sine of 109 divided by the sine of, what was it, 18? Yep. 21.42. So G is 21.42. Okay? So it's just an example of using the law of sine, okay, to solve a problem. So this one is, like I said, I don't have to worry about, when I started this problem out, I was given angle, side, angle. I didn't need to know that. Mainly, I just want to look at, do I know an angle and an opposite side? That's my go-ahead to use the law of sine. So this is the day we're dealing with animals. So triangle DOG for dogs. Sultan, do you need to stand up? Are you okay? Okay. Okay. Triangle DOG. So DOG. And then what is this side right here? This is G, this is D, and this is O. Okay. If angle O is 24 degrees, so that angle is 24, and angle G is 41, and G, little side G is 10, I want to solve for side D. Okay. So I want to solve for this side right here. Okay. Do I know an angle and an opposite side? Yeah, so you know, here's an angle, here's the opposite side. That means use the law of sines. Okay, so this is going to be G, which is 10, divided by the sine of what? 10 over the sine 41 is equal to D, and I need to figure out what is angle D. Yeah, so angle D is just 180 minus 24 minus 41 is, that's a 5 and a 65, so what was it, 75, 120, 115? So D is 115. So this is sine of 115. And then I just cross multiply. D, sine 41 equal 10. Sine 115. D is equal to 10 sine 15 divided by sine 41. So I just go to the calculator. Pardon me? It's 115, thanks. So sine of 115. So 10 times the sine of 115 divided by, what is it, the sine of 41. $13.81. So D is 13.81, and these are units. These are what? Kilometers. Okay, that's the length of side D. Okay, so again, it's drawing the triangle, figuring out which is the appropriate rule to use. Let's look at this next one. We're back into farm animals, triangle HEN. So H, E, N. Okay. So this is side N, that's side E, and that is side H. If side H is 14, side E is 15, and N is 5. Okay. So I'm given what, 3 sides? What will I have to use to solve this? This is the only thing I can use is law of cosine. So this is the law of cosine. Solve for angle H. Okay. So if I'm solving for this angle right here, angle H, where's the opposite side? It's right there. Okay. So in the law of cosine, 14 squared is equal to what? Yeah, 15 squared plus 5 squared. Yeah, minus 2. 15 times 5. Now this formula looked a lot uglier when you first started, but it's not that bad. The cosine of which angle? H. Okay. So there we are. So that needs to be solved for H. So if I want to get this by itself, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to move these two numbers. So this is what? 14 squared minus 15 squared minus 5 squared equal negative 2. 15. 5. Cosine H. To get the cosine H all by itself, I'm going to divide by everything that's in front of it. So 14 squared minus 15 squared minus 5 squared over negative 2. 15 times 5. That equals the cosine of H. And where do I go now? Calculator. I'm going to put all of this in. So being real careful, since this is a fraction, I'm going to use parentheses. 14 squared minus, what was it, 15 and 5, minus 15 squared minus 5 squared. I'm going to end my parentheses. All of that is divided by, new set of parentheses, negative 2 times 15 times 5. And this is 0.36. So the cosine of H equal 0.36. How do I solve that for H? Inverse cosine. I told my other class, I don't know what this means, but you do not divide by cosine. I don't know how people did that on the last quiz. It has no meaning. I don't know what you do, but you don't divide by cosine. You take the inverse cosine of both sides. So you're going to get H is the inverse cosine of 0.36. So you do trig function, inverse cosine, 0.36. And to the nearest degree, what is that angle? 69 degrees, okay? So H equal, that's a 69 degree angle, okay? So in this one, I mean, one of the big keys was you had to recognize this was law of cosine. Law of sine is not going to get you anywhere in a solution here because you didn't know any of the angles, okay? So again, law of sine, you look at it and you know an angle on opposite side. Law of cosine, you either know all three sides or two sides and the angle that is in between them, okay? So you're going to see on the quiz two triangles that look like that, and then you're going to see a selection of word problems, okay, that you know and love. And with the word problems, again, you've got to draw this out and decide which of these two laws to use. Atlanta and New York City are approximately 750 miles apart. So a pilot who is currently 140 miles from Atlanta discovers that she is 31 degrees off of her direct course. How far is she from New York City? Okay, so if this is Atlanta, this is New York City. So normally I would just fly a straight line. How far would that straight line be? 750 miles. But this pilot flies how far? 140 miles. And how far off course from getting to New York? I'm how far off? What, 31 degrees? So if I go that far and I'm a 31 degrees off, then I've got to make a right turn to get to New York City. This is what we're after. How far am I to New York City after I drove that? Now, look at this triangle. What do I know? Yeah, I know, yes, so side, angle, side. I know two sides and the angle in between. This is a law of cosine problem. So if I'm going to solve for x, so you're given here, you know, side, angle, side. This is the law of cosines. So solving for x with the law of cosine, x squared is equal to what? How do I write this with law of cosines? Yeah, so it's 140 squared plus 750 squared minus 2 times 140 times 750 times the cosine of the angle that is in between 140 and 750. What is that angle? 31 degrees, okay? So I know it's a lot of writing. It looks like a big formula, but that, you know, it starts to write itself. The square of one side plus the square of the other one, minus 2 times those things multiplied, cosine of the angle in between. Just go straight to your calculator for all of this. So it's 140 squared plus 750 squared minus 2 times 140 times 750 times the cosine. What is that angle? 31? Was it 31? Yeah. So that is 402.095. So x squared equal 402.095. How do I find x? Square root. So x is going to be the square root of that. Just go back to your calculator, hit your square root button. Instead of typing this number down, just use that button to recall it. And so it's 634.11. Pardon me? It's right here. And then you just hit the enter to bring that number down. So 634.11. So it's at the moment that the pilot finds out that she's 140 miles from Atlanta, she's still 634 miles. Is that a longer route or shorter? What is it? Will it be more than 750? What do you think? What are you missing? What's the quickest route on that triangle? What's the shortest route?
I think no. 750.
Yeah, between 2 points, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So 750. If I went 140 and then had to take a right turn, that's going to end up being like 775 miles. That's longer, okay? That's some common sense there. You need to work with them, Sultan, over there.
Oh, wait.
I'll wait. What is it? Okay. Come on, pardon me? Y'all both need to go? Didn't y'all just have an hour off before my class?
No, that was lunch.
Come on. I'm an old man, and I plan going to the bathroom between classes so I don't have to go during classes. You guys are younger than I am. You should be able to.
But I don't. It's not enough time slot. It's like what?
That 1 hour is not enough?
No, 10 minutes in between classes to go to the bathroom. You'll have to be on this is the third floor.
No, but like from 12 o'clock to 1:20, there's no time.
That's what I have to do.
So, okay, guys. I'm seriously I'm seriously close to just letting you guys do the rest of it yourself, okay? Okay? I want you to pay attention. If you absolutely have to go, then do it, okay? Okay, let's keep on. An isosceles triangle has a vertex angle of 62 degrees and a base of 15. What is the perimeter of this triangle? So this one's a little bit different. Again, I'm assuming you guys took geometry at some point in a previous life, okay? Which angle is 62 degrees? In this, yeah, the top angle is 62 degrees. Okay. Where's the base of that triangle? Yeah, this is 15 centimeters. What does it mean for a triangle to be isosceles? Two sides of the same length. So this side and this side are the same. What does that mean about this angle and this angle? They're the same. Okay. So if I take 180 minus 62 is 118. Okay. So these angles have to add to be 118, right? Does everyone understand that? They're each 59 degrees, okay? This angle is 59. This angle is 59. So because this is 59 times 2. Okay? Now we can use what? Law of sine. Because you know an angle and you know an opposite side. Okay? So to find the perimeter of that triangle, I basically have to find what the other side is. So with the law of sine, in this case, 15 divided by the sine of what? 62. Let's just call this side x. Okay? That's going to equal to x over the sine of what? 59. So when I cross multiply, x times the sine of 62 equal 15 sine of 59. So x is equal to 15 sine of 59 divided by the sine of 62. So 15 times the sine of 59 over the sine of 62. Fifteen times sine 59 divided by the sine of 62. So 14.56. So this side is 14.56. What is this side over here? 14.56. How do I find the perimeter of that triangle? What is it? You add all these things together. So 14.56, 14.56, and 15. When you add all those together, so 44.12. So 44.12 is the perimeter, and yes, I believe it's measured in centimeters. So 44.12 centimeters is the perimeter of that triangle. Okay. So this one a little bit different. You know, it called on you needing to know some terminology and applying that from geometry. So I don't think it's going to get too much into that on the quiz. You'll see more things like the other word problems that we've been encountered. So a cat and a dog are standing 8 miles apart on a straight cliff overlooking the ocean. Okay. Both animals can see the same fishing boat out of the water. The angle created by the straight edge off of the cliff and the direct line between the cat and the ship is 53 degrees. Between the dog and the ship is 29 degrees. How far is the fishing boat from the cat? Okay. Not a very likely scenario, but we'll see. So we have a dog and we have a cat. Okay. So they are looking at a fishing boat. So you got the dog here, cat here. We know how far apart are the dog and the cat. They are 8 miles apart, and they are looking at a fishing boat that is out on the water somewhere. So there is our, something like that. There is our boat. The angle created between the cat and the ship is what, 53 degrees? Between the dog and the ship is 29 degrees. How far is the fishing boat from the cat? So that means I'm solving for which one of these sides? This one right here, okay? So will I use law of sine or law of cosine? We're going to use law of sine because Cosine is either you know all three sides, I don't have that, or you know two sides and the angle in between, okay? So I need an angle and an opposite side, which means I need this angle here. So not too hard to find. 180 minus 29 minus 53, that's a 282, so that's a 98. Is that right? 98 degrees. So this angle is 98 degrees. So how do I set this up with the law of sine now? Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. So x over sine 29 equal 8 over sine 98. Cross multiply. X times the sine of 98 equal 8 sine of 29. Solve this for x. So 8 times sine 29. All of that divided by sine 98. That gives me 3.92. So this is 3.92 miles is how far the cat is from the ship. Okay. So, are you getting more comfort with these kind of problems? I mean, they're not as scary. Yeah. Some people think the law of cosine is easier. It goes back and forth different ways. So, the most involved, the most writing is when you're using law of cosine to solve for an angle. That's where you're doing most of the work. Okay. So we've got a couple more and then we're done. Okay. Air traffic controllers are in two separate towers that are 3.2 miles apart, and they're tracking the same airplane. Okay, so you have a control tower over here, and then you have another control tower over here. They're tracking the same airplane. The airplane you think is going to be higher than the tower, lower than the tower? What do you think? It should be higher. So you got an airplane that is somewhere up here. Okay, so both of these towers are tracking the same airplane. Okay, so we know that the towers are how far apart? Yeah, so we've got 3.2 miles is the distance from these two towers. They're tracking the same airplane. Okay, so I've got Tower A and Tower B. Okay, the line of sight distance from Tower A to the airplane is 5.8. Which side is that? That's over here. This is 5.8. Okay. And the line of sight from Tower B to the airplane is 4.9. Okay. Now, immediately when I see this, what am I going to have to use? You're going to have to use law of cosine. That's the only thing that deals with when you know three sides. Okay. What is the angle of elevation from Tower B to the airplane? So they're asking me to find that angle right there. Okay. Does everyone see? That's the angle they're asking me to solve for. So with the law of sine, you always know an angle and an opposite side, right? Everyone agree with that? When you use the law of cosine, you will be solving for one of those things, okay? So here, I don't know an angle and opposite side. I need to solve for it. It's going to be law of cosine. So I'm going to start out, and let's see if I've got enough space here. I drew that diagram pretty big. So I'm solving for this angle. So I go directly to the opposite side, and I'm going to write 5.8 squared equal what? Yeah, equal 3.2 squared plus 4.9 squared minus 2, 3.2, 4.9, and the cosine of the angle in between 3, 2, and 4, 9 is cosine of angle B, which I do not know. Okay, so that's using the law of cosine. Like I said, it's a lot of writing, but it's just now simplifying and getting that cosine by itself. So I can write this as 5.8 squared minus 3.2 squared minus 4.9 squared equal negative 2, 3.2, 4.9 cosine of B. How do I get cosine of B by itself now? You divide by everything that it's multiplied by. So 5.8 squared minus 3.2 squared minus 4.9 squared, all of that divided by negative 2, 3.2, 4.9, that is the cosine of B. Then I go to my calculator. So 583249. So parentheses 5.8 squared minus, what was it, 3, 2, and 4, 9. 3.2 squared minus 4.9 squared in my parentheses. All of that now gets divided by parentheses negative 2 times 3.2 times 4.9, so 0.019452. So cosine B equal 0.019. How do I solve that for B? Yeah, so B is equal to the inverse cosine 0.01942. I'll just go back to my calculator. Trig function, inverse cosine. Do you think I'm going to type that in again? No, I'm going to say that number right there. Okay. Rounded to the nearest degree. What is that degree? That's an 89-degree angle. So it tells me angle B is 89 degrees. So that's probably the hardest or the most involved, and I don't want to use the word hard, but I mean it's a lot of writing, okay? The formula is not that much more difficult. It's just that you write things, it's more repetitive, it takes more time, okay? But they all tend to solve the same way. If you're solving for the angle, I took the same steps every time to get there. Okay, baseball. So there might be a combination on the quiz where like some of them I give you no drawing, some of them I give you a drawing. The reason I do that is because like when I'm grading, if I don't give you any drawings and you make the same mistakes, it's harder to grade. So there might be a mixture. So like here's one where you're given the drawing. In a baseball game, a hitter hits the ball straight toward the pitcher 26 feet. So that's just like bad English in a word there. So like toward the pitcher 26 feet. So I could rewrite that. But you get the drift. The ball goes straight toward the pitcher and it goes only 26 feet. The pitcher runs forward to retrieve the ball. At that moment, how far is the pitcher from first base? Assume the baseball diamond is a square with each side 90 feet. So where is first base? It's right. That's first base, second, third, and home. Okay. So you look at the triangle. I'm trying to figure out. This is what I'm trying to figure out right here. Okay. How far, when the pitcher goes to get the ball, how far is he from first base? Okay. So what do you think I'm going to use? I can't use law of cosine is either I know three sides. Well, I mean, I can't use it just based on three sides. I can't do that. The other thing is, do I know, what angles do I know? So is there anything up there that tells you about angles? Okay, read the last sentence. Assume the baseball diamond is a square, okay? If the baseball diamond is a square, this angle is what? What's this? 90, 90, 90, and 90, right? The batter hits the ball straight toward the pitcher, okay? So I'm at a 90-degree angle, and I hit the ball straight toward the pitcher. Yeah, this angle right here, that is a 45-degree angle, okay? Because I hit the ball straight to the pitcher, out of that 90-degree angle, that was sort of what was hidden in this problem. So now what do I know? I know two sides and the angle that is in between them, which tells you to use law of cosine. So how do I solve for x? X squared is going to equal what? Yeah. 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 Cosine 45. Okay. So it's a lot of writing, but it's pretty easy when you get to the calculator for this. So 26 squared plus 90 squared. Sorry. Minus 2 times 26 times 90 times cosine of 45, and that is 5466.74. So x squared equal 54. Now, I really don't want to round off until I get to the very end. So now, how do I solve for x? X is what? Square root of that. So I'll go back to my calculator, the square root button, and I would just recall that number right there. And so the square root of that is 73.94. So 73.94 feet. That's how far the pitcher is from first base when he has to throw the ball. Okay? So